Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. I have returned. Now, if you're binge watching this, the whole playlist of videos, then it means nothing to you. But if you've been waiting for me to return for days now, then yeah, it might mean a tiny bit of something. Anyways, that's all the good news. The bad news is that, well, there is no bad news, which is a bad news in itself, but I guess it's kind of a good news. Regardless, let's go on and discuss geographical, economical things about Hungary instead of doing any sort of language stuff, because that's what I feel doing at the moment. So let's look at things. There are three cities I would want to talk about today. First one is Győr, then Sopron, and finally Szombathely. All cities near the western border of Hungary. And the fact that they do not belong to Austria, well, some of them are there because they wanted to stay with Hungary. So here is Hungary for you. It's very easy. It's like a potato. There's the right side of the potato, and here is the left side of the potato. And the left side of the potato has Győr, Sopron, and Szombathely. Three big cities near the western part. Let's look at Győr. The city itself is not too big. A couple of thousand people live here. And the main attraction, well, not really for tourists, is that there is a huge factory of Audi here. As you can see, it's quite big. And if I zoom out, then you can see that the factory part itself is maybe 1/6 of the town or city. Yeah, well, there we go. Normally, I wouldn't go to Győr, not because things are bad over there, but simply because it's not as famous as Pécs or Szeged when it comes to tourism stuff. I usually go nearby, or at least go around it on the M1 if I ever go to Vienna. And as you can see, Győr and Vienna are about 109 kilometers. Well, if you take into account that you have to squiggle around a bit, then a little bit more, but you get the idea. Let's go with that. It's like 110. However, if I want to measure the distance between Budapest and Győr, that also comes down to about 110. Now, because Budapest is as far as Vienna from Győr, people do have a choice. If you don't want to work in the local Audi factory, then you can kind of commute, or well, mostly move to Budapest, or do the most sensible decision ever in your life and commute to one of these other places for work. Because that's what these, especially people living in Sopron and Szombathely, often do. Although technically you get to have your own business, that way you don't have to commute to the Vienna side, but then if you're a dentist, for instance, people from Vienna tend to come to you because of the huge price difference. Now, let's talk about Szombathely a little bit. It's not a big town, again, no Audi factory or any sort of like that. But what I find interesting about this place is the name itself, because Szombathely has the name Szombat in it. And Szombat means Saturday, and hely is place. Right, as you can see, the translation is quite obvious. Well, with that said, the name itself refers to its status as a market town and the medieval markets that was held here. And if you look closely, there are some handy-dandy squares for markets, which are not there anymore, except this bit, which is a famous market in here, with some potatoes. Now, finally, let's move away from Szombathely to the last place, which is chaperone, and as you can see, it's pretty weird here because you shouldn't have that sort as a border. It just looks weird, isn't it? I mean, normally, as you can see, the border is quite squiggly, but only because there's a river separating, for instance, in this case, Slovakia from Hungary. And over here, more rivers, channels, things like that. But over here, it's just kind of weird. I mean, there are some rivers, but it's just, you know, you don't know what's going on. And the reason for all this is because at some point there was a vote. A vote about whether these cities or towns or people in general would want to belong to Austria or Hungary. And some people and some places voted to remain with Hungary, earning the unofficial title Loyal Territories, and some others, they joined Austria. As you can imagine, during the Austro-Hungarian Empire, these territories would have a lot of mixed nationalities. Some people spoke German because they traded with them, some spoke Hungarian, and the other way around as well. So this place was populated by everyone. So the long story short, the reason the border looks a bit squiggly and unnecessary is because of that vote. Now, some people who are a little bit more skeptical or sarcastic, such as myself, often question why, if you can vote, would you ever choose to stay with Hungary as opposed to Austria, which even back then was a lot richer than Hungary. Now, if you want to know more about what an average Hungarian would think of Austria, you can check out one of my other videos, which, I don't really reference other videos of mine, but in this case, you could, and I'll put the link in the description so you can watch that, well, let's call it very opinionated documentary about how Hungarians see Austria in general. And I think that's about it. Not a lot of things I have to say about these places of Hungary as big cities. But next time I can definitely talk about the capital cities of Hungary, or the cities where the king sat, or the king's chair was, if that makes sense. So thanks for watching, and see you hopefully tomorrow. Or wait, no, on Friday, because tomorrow I have to do other stuff and I won't be around. Right, bye bye.